How many years?
Almost 3 years.
And what were you doing?
My last assignment was with NIIT. Previously, I was working as a developer in one of the companies for cybermarks.
So why don't you go sequentially in the beginning?
I'm Rohit Gurkar, and I have done my MBA from NIIT University, and my schooling is from
That's in Delhi.
Yeah. My schooling is from St. David's. I'm Sanu. I've done my bachelor in commerce from Delhi University, Straight Public School. I did my GNIT, that's a course from NIIT. And I started with the course and did my schooling from Boston.
I am Praveen Mission. I have done my BTech in International Communication and my PhD was from Japan.
So, sir, my name is Arjun. I have done my BTech from Delhi. I have done my schooling from Boston. Sir, my name is Jyotirmoy Bose, and I have done economics from Punjab University, and my schooling is from Delhi.
My name is Anu. I am from Kerala. I completed my BTech in Delhi University. I had 1 year experience in software engineering, as a software developer.
You speak Hindi? You learned here or you were there?
So my place was from Mumbai.
So how easy or difficult it is to be here from a language perspective?
Language perspective, it's difficult for me because it's only one word. That's it.
Rahul sir, I am Apur Ahmed. I have done my schooling and graduation in BCom from Aligarh Muslim University.
What discipline?
So BCom.
BCom, sir.
Sir, I am Kanish. I have done my schooling from Amity High School, Noida branch. I did my graduation in BBA, it's a licensed student. I have been working for around 2 years. I was working with Bajaj Allianz, general insurance in Pune. Then I shifted to a wealth management firm here in Mumbai, and there for another year before coming.
Sir, I am Rohit Gurkar, and I have did my BTech in Computer Science from NIIT, and I have done my schooling from Delhi.
Can we circle to this side? Otherwise, the whole room is center of gravity of India. That's my colleague Vineet. He works with me. He's an MBA from Bombay and he's been working with us for 2 years now. He's now working on a project with a defense company in Delhi. So what do you all know about what are we going to do here today? Apart from what he announced, right? Are you interested in the topic or MBA or am I? But at least you understand the concept of Hindi, so
What role does small scale industries play in the overall development of how they live in there, what are the needs of the future? So I think entrepreneurship.
Sir, our future as an entrepreneur in India.
The current issues in the SMEs and solve them from the government from what is the
we may not understand the government part of it. We may tell you what other governments do in other countries. In India, I think violence is now buzzword. I will also try and focus on our company consults with what we call mid-corporate. There are some definitions of SME available which we will share, you may be already aware of. But frankly, we don't work with really small companies. I mean, we work with companies whose revenues are typically in the region of 100 crore, 50 to 100 crores and above, which in most technical and legal definitions kind of falls outside the threshold. Okay, we have worked and partnered some startups or really small companies, 3 crore, 5 crore companies, where I said either there was a match in values with the promoters or there was a friend who was in business and wanted help, and so we got associated. Fortunately for you, we've done some benchmarking work across 150 hours, spoken to 100 plus owner, promoters, CEOs of companies, and we of this size company. When I say SME, I don't mean 5 crore, 10 crore necessarily. So when I say SME, I mean at least 50 crore, maybe 500. I'm not meaning like, you know, Tata and Reliance and all of that, but so I hope that's okay. You know, so most of them have been started, and most of them are first generation entrepreneurs who started themselves rather than inherit something while doing this. So some idea of that. We'll spend some time also on, you know, what are the organization issues and what are the people issues that they face while trying to grow. Okay, so we'll do a bit of that. And 2-3 of you have worked earlier. We'll give you a sense of how different the work world is from the college world. I mean, one proverb somebody I read somewhere was that in school or college, you first have the lessons and then you have the test. In life, you first get the test and you will still not learn the lesson. So that is one fundamental difference that will happen. So we try and see how much we can tell you some life lessons without you going to the test. Okay, test you will go through for the rest of your life. Right? So that's what we try and do. Any other thing before we start? So there are two words. There is a word called shop and there is a word called organization. In my mind, what is the opposite of the word organization? Have you learned this in school? What is the opposite of organization? Disorientation. Disorganized memories. Okay, that's one characteristic. Anything else? Anybody else? Nobody asked this kind of question. What is the opposite of organization? I'll ask you these kind of questions. Unstructured way of working. So in my book, in my dictionary, the opposite of the word organization is shop. Okay? A shop, as you will see, is run by a shopkeeper. Is run by a shopkeeper. The shopkeeper has clear line of, have you understand the word line of sight? Like the shooters have a line of sight. Of what of the operations, what is happening in the shop. Okay, customers, employees, and then finance. How many of you know somebody who runs a company which is when a shopkeeper is not there, what happens in the shop? Customer comes and goes. Bad service. Oh, okay, bad service. Total ruckus. So what goes down? Reliability. Good point. Reliability goes down. Good for another shop. Okay. Do you know any companies which are run like a shop? Your friend's company or relative or something? Have you any experience of it? Chemical company, right? Is it a chemical manufacturing? Chemical manufacturing, right? So somebody has worked in Bajaj, somebody has worked in NIIT, what other person was? Software company. How many employees? Right. So is that a shop?
Not too much.
not there, what happens?
Others, if the director board is 5 people, if one is missing, others will be consulting and making decisions.
Most probably.
Otherwise, he will be taking some online work because the other one is in Australia. So they will be having a chart with video call, having some format. Because I don't know balance.
Right. In our experience, many companies are run like a shop. And in our mind, a shop may have 10, 20, 100 employees. But I have seen sometimes 1,000 employee plus entity multi-location, where decision making is centralized and nothing moves without one person signing or approving or agreeing. And in my book, that was shop. Do you have any shop-like organizations?
Family-run businesses.
Right, family-run businesses. So, is Ford Motor Company a family-run business? Not now. Huh? It is. Now you have two viewpoints. So, what is a family-run business?
The forefathers are running.
Another example is Tata's family business. Huh? Yeah.
So, but what of activities are there? External members are there in the board.
Yeah, okay. Hathi, you don't know this problem. In Hindi, we say, Hathi ke dikhane ke taraf, dikhane ke taraf. You know what it means? Huh? The decorative king of the elephant are for show, but the one that eats are hidden.
Are we talking about more of a centralized kind of
I mean, when the shopkeeper is not there, things come to a chaotic grind or it is organized, all of that.
So one more decision, maybe if Tata, welfare now, that may be his own decision. Other decision will be board decision.
No, so Friday is not shop. I'm confused now.
No, not shop.
It's not a shop.
It was his dream. Gradually,
Is Reliance a shop? Huh? It's a shop. So as you can see, I don't know how you know, but as you can see, science is not independent of shop or organization. Okay. However, there is a secret. So when we use the word organization, it comes from the word organize. Right? The question is organized for what? For work behavior, okay. Sorry? Organize for profit. You don't organize for profit, you probably organize that profit is an outcome. You may organize with a profit objective. But how do you organize? I'm talking about how the internal working you operate. Yeah. I mean, immediately I'm asking what will the organization organize for, which a shop won't organize for, right? That's what I'm asking. Interlink the different processes. In a shop, they're not interlinked. Like, you go to buy a sari, somebody show you the sari, then somebody will pack it, then somebody go to the bill counter, then you pay the bill, then you go maybe connect somewhere, right? I mean, then you go on security guard and take the thing. So, is that an organization or a shop? Is it interlinked? You don't think so? No, but you make the bill, he takes the bill there, somebody stamps it. I mean, without that, doesn't let you go. It's quite interlinked. No? If you lose the bill, what happens before you get out? My purpose in these 2 hours is actually to raise more questions than give answers. Like, what is a family business? And what is the MNC, which is the other interpreter? And you must have heard this, no? That MNCs are professionally run and family businesses are like Lala Company. You heard the word Lala Company? Have you heard? I don't know, Malayali for Lala is. Run by one person. So does that happen? I mean, are MNCs necessarily professional and Indian businesses necessarily Lala? Or is something else predominant? Aditya Birla Group, example. Is it a professional company? Is it a Lala company? Professional Lala company. Okay, and then obviously you have to understand what does the word professional mean. Does it mean I'm a type of company only these professional people are professional? I am also. So what is professional? Sorry? Accountability. In a Lala company there is no accountability? Actually it's not strict. I've seen some Lala companies who are more ruthless. MNC में कुछ भी चलता है. Because वो government का पैसा, हम like shareholder का पैसा. Accountability is one point. What is professional? What does the word professional mean? Transparency.
More like for output.
Huh?
Your output, their horticulture is basically dependent on the output.
The workers is dependent on the output. Does it? You are like implying the Lala company's output is. I don't agree with that.
If there is something mistake, the Lala company is only the person who is accountable for that.
Is it? Is it? I have heard that Lala companies are very brutal and they sack you quickly. I mean, what more accountability than losing a job for it? I wish Kalwadi was accountable. You were saying something. So what is the opposite of the word professional? Oh, in a sense that don't sound professional, that's obvious. It is a professional company. What is the opposite? So what you are saying is professional company is maybe merit driven, right? I mean you all seem to be saying one way or the other that merit matters, right? Is that sitting with the definition of professional? The merit driven, performance driven, transparent accountability, or all of those things. To my mind, the opposite of the word merit is loyalty. Okay. In a Lala company, what does the value on? Are you loyal to me? It doesn't matter whether you are good or bad. Right? That is Lala, right? So on one scale you have merit and on another scale you have loyalty. And both are important in most companies. Not that one company will only have merit and one company will only have loyalty. Human beings will have some loyalty affiliation anyway, right? It will be there. And if you have done a business with profit motive as you were saying, then you need to have some merit. Right? But where does the scale tilt heavier? If the scale tilts in favor of merit, it is a professional company, regardless of whether it is Ford or family or Ambani or whatever. If it tilts in favor of loyalty, it is whatever you want to call it, Lala, unprofessional, shopkeeper, whatever you want to call it. Is this clear? Most people are not clear about this. There was a family run business means Lala. That is not necessarily true. And similarly, MNC being professional is also not necessarily true. Most companies are shaped by their leader, CEO, whatever the case is. And there is enough research that shows how companies change when there is a new leader and stuff like that, right? So if a new leader can come and command loyalty to himself, take the company to a new trajectory, and then leave, taking 10 people with him, was it a professional company? And could be G. Is the point here? Huh? So back to the other point I was talking to you. What does the organization organize for?
For its goals,
Okay, I'll answer the question in a minute. So organizations is owned by entrepreneur promoters, run by employees. Okay, it has systems and processes for operations and control, which means that if this bill has to be made, so many companies have to take in, this has to be done, it has to be signed by people, and then it will go out. Type of a thing. This is one example of a control. And it is organized for, now answering your question. Yes, sir. Organizations are organized for reusability of knowledge, business intelligence, and information. Okay. What does that mean? That means if a company has 15 customers who give it the bulk of its business, then the mobile number of the customer is not in the sales text here. And when he leaves the company, that information goes with them. Have you seen that happen sometimes? If you're not in a work experience, but that happens quite often. That a person leaves the company and with him goes, अच्छा हाँ उन्होंने बोला था ऐसा होगा. Okay? That will never grow. When will the organization grow? When it is independent of the promoters of the founders. It will always remain a shop if the promoter has to be involved. For you to grow, you have to invest in something which makes it reusable. For example, when you join the company, you write your name and your address and whether you are married or not, you have children or not. That information has to be available to the, if you have been insured for medical insurance purposes. Now you have to again go and fill up a form. If you are again filling up a form and writing the same thing you already give it to administration or HR, then the company is not organized for reusability. In IT parlance, we use the phrase single entry multiple capture. You enter it at one place and whoever needs it, provided they have the requisite control and approval, they can capture that data. It can be customer data, it can be employee data, it can be technical data, it can be process data, it can be operations data. Are you understanding this? So this is an organization. And the main struggle of SMEs is because they are shops. That is the main struggle. And why do they struggle? They struggle because they don't want to let go of control. Scared of that. So they will remain a shop. Only organizations can scale and grow. Shops, if they scale and grow, the promoter will be working 20 hours and he will be working till late and he'll never take leave. It's not that he can't make a large organization, he can. But everything will center around him and there will not be a legacy for somebody to carry forward in his absence. And God forbid something happens to him or her. Is this point clear?
So, you should be loyal to your company or your Lala?
Or your Lala? How are they different? I mean, depends on what the company is. Is it a shop or some organization? That's the first question.
I think organization is such a shop. So, when the shop is in an organization, if I need is having some affection to my point of view.
For the?
Point of view, like technical head or project leader. Because I will be having some restriction will be down if I am working with a particular point of view. So I will be some loyal to him. So if he is going to enforce to TCS, I will be having a application to go to TCS. Because I think on working under him will give me some credit.
Some credit.
Means I can work more productive with him.
Because you have not seen another world. Means you haven't worked on another boss, right? So your boss is your world. For many employees, the boss is the world. Or boss is certainly the organization, not the world. It's certainly the organization. There is enough research which shows that employees join organizations but they leave bosses. You have heard this line from time to time.
The OB course.
Or they're learning in an OB course. think Marcus Buckingham has done some research on this subject.
There is a trend like that. My brother is working as a marketing consultant. So he told like he was working in IT marketing. So he told like, I think I will get good promotion and good productivity when I work under Laga madam or Laga. So he went to Ipswich.
It can, see, for leaders, a key role they play is which horses they bet on and which horses they take their bets on. That is the key role of leadership. So I guess the flip side of followership, if it is, choosing and being able to gravitate to right horses. Having said that, there are many factors in an organization which contribute to success of area beyond bosses. Okay, and you use the word that if I go with him, I will get promotion and productivity. So I'm not sure about productivity, promotion possibly. But then, in my definition of professional, Allah, is it a practical thing to do or a unprofessional thing to do? Merit and loyalty, where are you going? That's a choice you have to make. There's no right answers. I'm just saying there's a choice you have to make.
Sir, loyal, but I am
Loyal and professional.
loyal. It's loyal, but to which side? It's in our organization side or both side? You should be loyal to the board.
If the question has two parts to it. If we talk about SME and mid corporates, then organization and boss is not much different. There may be other bosses, but there's finally only one boss and in a smaller company. But if you talk about the larger sector of an organization, then the two can be different. The bosses can represent the organization, and your line of sight to what is the real organizational vision and direction is not clear. That is possible. Any questions, comments till now? Like for example, should you be loyal to your resume or CV, or should you be loyal to your profession, and should you be loyal to your company?
The resume is good, then only you will get job.
Yeah, but you will need job in another company only and not doing very well.
Resume should be good to get a job. You should be true with your resume.
What does that mean, true with your resume?
You should, in my opinion, abilities, not you are a super and you are coming from home, that shouldn't be there.
So let me explain this, So you are in first year, first term, so too early here. Suppose, a company has to invest, suppose you are the head of manufacturing or technology for the company, and the company wants to buy new PCs, right, or new computing power. And the promoter has charged you with the task of buying computers, right? And says, no, company needs to do this, we need to buy computers. Now you have two choices. One choice is to go and buy the latest Apple or iPad or some very sexy high-tech computing thing, because, or get some, let's say you want to learn Unix, and that's the latest thing, and you put on your resume because now you can say I know Unix. So you make the company go in the Unix direction or Linux, whatever the word is, right? The company may not need that. The company may need something which is cheaper, maybe more aligned to, more suited for its industry. But many people are loyal to their resume because writing that Unix or Linux or iPad or whatever I want to write will look good there. And then now the owner is a trusting person, he doesn't know one technology, Unix or Linux or something else, he doesn't know. You know, but you are loyal to your resume while pretending to be loyal to the company. Have you understood what I said? Many people do that. But your value to the company will be when, at least for the time that you are there, you think of Everybody is doing competency, it's new fashion. Company may not meet, boss may not care, but I want to learn job evaluation. Can be anything, in any area, you know, in marketing. So that's what I mean by being loyal to your resume versus loyal to your profession. So, have you heard about it? Have you ever heard of the word detractor? Huh? Anybody heard of the word? Huh? Because just to speak smiling people, and nobody answering. Detractor is somebody who detracts, somebody who finds fault with everything. You know, points out mistakes and all of that. I mean, Sheila Dixit feels that the media is currently being a detractor, for example. Okay. Like if you go for any family wedding or something, and there will be one aunt who will be sitting and bad mouthing, you know, the other side. Have you seen people like that? Nothing good to the other side, everything is bad. The arrangements are bad, I was not received properly, the food is bad. The dowry is given not enough.
So TDS one basically.
Sorry?
TDS basically for having a lot of experience.
No, it's not necessarily a detractor. Yeah, it's in your mind, you know, that everything is nice. There are some people here who say this university is bad, nothing is there, what is this, you know, all the time being critical. That is a detractor. They have no experience. But they have a license to talk. So that can happen. Okay? Detractor is somebody who finds a fault with everything around him or her. Sorry? Pessimistic or negative, often detractors are intelligent people. Okay? It is not that they are dumb or anything. But they have just channelized their intelligence in a different direction. So in a group, like this group, you may be in a work group tomorrow. Okay, you may be leading a team in an organization day after. In a group, people perform at different levels. This is the lowest level of functioning, that of a detractor. The next level is that of an observer. Observer is a good type of the first one. Passive observer is somebody who is sitting there, not talking, and they are physically here but mentally somewhere else. You know, after lunch, and my girls check now, some Jyotirmoy Bose comes and stuff here. Okay. So that's a passive observer. The next one is an active observer. Active observer is somebody who may not be talking, but through their body language, eye contact, gestures and all, at least is engaging with what's happening in the group. Yeah? The next level is that of a participant. What is the participant in the group?
Actually participates in that.
Right. You know, detractor participates. In a negative manner, right? So participant is defined by somebody who is interested in pursuing self-learning. Will ask questions, doubts, participate. Detractor is not interested in self-learning. He is in self-teaching. Okay? That's what he's trying to teach the world will happen. That is the difference. The next level is that of a contributor. What is the difference between a participant and a contributor? Detractor also contributes. In a positive. Contributor, main difference the way we see it is help others to learn and grow. Clarify their doubts, their mistakes. If I am going too fast and he is not understood, you stop and ask him to repeat the point. Or if somebody could not follow what was said in class, then after class help somebody. Those are contributors. And the highest form of participation is that of a leader. Leader is not necessarily somebody with formal authority. Okay? Leader is characterized in a group, often informal, by two things. The first is somebody who can show, clarify the goal or the way forward, the path forward. And the second is removing obstacles from the path. Suppose you're sitting there and this thing stops working right now, and one of you go and call the IT guy and get it fixed. That is a leadership role. It need not be the senior most person in the group or the person with authority. Okay. Often in groups we find that when people are in trouble, they will converge towards one person. Why? Because he usually does one of the two things here. He may not be the senior-most person. That person could be in your village or at home, you know. People go to the village enter. Why? Because he is able to help on that. Not necessarily the person responsible for the project. So the question is, in a group, where are you? Okay. And you will find that you are understanding this concept. Have you ever taken any courses in statistics? There's something called a bell curve. Has anybody heard about the bell curve? So you will have few detractors in a group and few leaders. You know, 1 and 5. Then you have some more of 2 and 4 observers and contributors, and the bulk of people will be in the participant category. In low performing groups, it may tend towards observer, the bulk of the people. In high performing groups, it may tend towards contributor, the bulk of the people. But yeah, it's very important to understand this when you begin to. Do you all have projects? Have you all started work on any project yet? No?
Subjective project, English project.
Sorry, I'm lost.
Just given them an asking for the planning to visit some business.
So do they have to do it individually? They have to work in it?
They're working in threes, but they're supposed to work individually, subdivided individually as well as a group project.
Right. So that's an example of beginning to do work and what your role in the group is. Okay. And to be of value to the organization or to the promoter, the more you go up the level ladder, the better off you are. And there are no shortcuts or double promotions. If you are a detractor and you try to be the leader, what will happen? Your credibility, people don't believe you, will tell you shut up and sugar. Okay? So you have to just shut up and become an observer. Then you can show that you are interested in learning yourself. Now your credibility begins to build with the group, then you can become a contributor and then you can try to be a leader. Is it not clear? Okay, so there's some research from NCI which are really live. This is not necessarily about SMEs, but it's about organizations. So, so there is a phrase which they use, is sustained business success. So business success is, what do you think, sir? What do you think? Right. So there is a phrase in finance called total shareholder return. Has anybody heard this phrase? Total shareholder return, have you heard the phrase? So there is a phrase called total shareholder return, which is what the share price appreciates over a period of time, plus any bonuses issued, bonus shares issued, plus any dividends given. When you add that up, it is called total shareholder return. Okay? So a company's performance measured in terms of total shareholder return can be compared to other company's performance in total shareholder return over a long period of time, and that is seen as the best way of measuring sustained business success. Is this point clear? Okay. So, we have to go to the first point. So, what were the key ingredients of success for companies? Many people feel that nowadays biotech is doing well, or biotech companies are doing well, or IT का चल रहा है तो IT is going on, or banks are doing well, or pharma is doing well, or real estate is doing well. You know what it is? So join a real estate company, you will do well, right? I mean, you must have heard things like this, right? But to all any company, आजकल क्या चल रहा है? Which industry is doing well? It could be telecom, for example. Give me a name of the industry. What is doing well for you? Very well. The best industry today. IT industry. Anybody else? FMCG. So take whatever industry you believe is doing well. Doesn't mean if you join a company you will do well. But many of us believe that. And if IT groups now, have you heard this? What my IT is getting? So industry, and similarly, what industries are dying? Have you heard that? Ulta. An industry which is sunset industry. People say newspapers are dying because digital and internet When the news comes on SMS and email, but why is it? It's not for news. Your news already you know. Will a children read the newspaper in paper form?
I'm sure it will be
Possible. No.
It's very people will do it.
Let Kindle will do it. You know, Shakespeare Suman said in a TV interview once that on 16th August, 27th January, and not October, India is constituted. Why? Habit. So will the habit, so will Kindle replace that? Don't know. Okay, so industry. So the point I'm making is in the sunset industry, they will still be successful companies. And in the sunrise industry, there may be unsuccessful companies. And only 4% of the success, and the success I think is about 25 years later, I'll tell you the star will be revealed what it means, then you will know. Only 4% of it is determined by industry. Okay? Next. You may have heard people say, strategy. Most SMEs want to work only in strategy. They don't want to do anything else. They just want to do strategic stuff. No? Correct? No? Always connect. That's a sexy cool thing. So, strategy contributes only 9%. So, it is possible that this company has very sharp, superior strategy and they execute it. A good company that is mentioned these days is a company called Micromax. What was the strategy? Cheap mobile, something else. How did they grow and become so big?
More features, less sales.
More features of cheap mobile. That is what made them grow. They were the first to recognize, notice that people were keeping one phone for incoming and one for outgoing and put that into the same phone. That is what they do. And now they are almost number 2. After Nokia and Samsung, they are very close to Samsung. So they are in 4 years. So you can give an example that sometimes strategy can lead to success. But if do you know which is the best strategy firm in the world, company in the world? Have you heard any name? Which company can help you make the best strategy? Are there any strategic consulting companies who can help you make it? Do you know? Actually, not a strategy company. Accenture Bilances, technology, no, consulting, technology outsourcing, right? High performance delivered, let's say. I was told you were doing some fancy work. Who was telling me that you will have some McKinsey quarterly and some other HBR and also what is telling me? Have you heard of McKinsey quarterly? What do you do with it? Right. McKinsey is supposed to be the world's leading strategy firm. Let's say whether it is McKinsey or PwC or Accenture for the sake of argument. If getting the best strategy in the world was a guarantee of success, then all companies will be standing out and McKinsey's working strategy. Right? Does that happen? So strategy only contributes 9%. The next thing. So leadership. Leadership not in a textbook or HBR sense. So the leadership is really in the company's ability to execute whatever strategy was. Second best or third best strategy executed well is better than the best strategy not executed well. And the difference to so this is NIIT is the university, it's a leading MBA school in France. They have now branches in Singapore and other places. So they have looked at the top 100 companies between 82 and 2007. So they say that the industry goes through a business cycle every 7 years. There is a downward type of thing. 2001 there was .com came, 2003 there was subprime came, 2015 something will happen. Not exactly, but approximately. So in 25-year period, there are at least 3 downturns maybe 4. So if companies come out of that and give the highest shareholder return, they studied these companies and tried to see what was the contributor to the success. So it is not industry mainly, it is not strategy, it is leadership and the ability to execute. So execute really becomes the edge of sustained business success. Is my clear? So White Space Consulting is the company that we are from. We were doing some work with a client for whom we met promoters of 109 companies with annual sales of 200 crores. That's the size. Right? And when we spoke to the promoters and the leadership team, what did we find? So you may have a different definition of SME, sadly this is my definition, so as I said in the beginning. So I'll tell you what I found with them. That by and large, promoters are strong technically. Technically does not mean that they are engineers or not. Technically could be that he's a shareholding firm and he understands financial markets well. Technically could be that the FMCG thing, he understands the customer and pricing things well. Okay, that's what I mean by technically. It is not necessarily that he's an engineer. That's clear? He could also be an engineer and understand his processes well, but in their area of operations, they are technically strong. Yeah? Next. They have built traction. Have you heard about the word traction? What does traction mean? Not tractor. Huh? In favor of. Yeah, that's a reasonable point. In favor of. Traction means. Yeah. That people will come and ask for it. So, which means, like I have heard, people will say, like you will say, like Bill. Whether it is made a Henson lever or a PNG, you will say, use the word Bill also. So, type of thing. What are the examples? Sorry? Xerox is a very good example. Xerox is a very good example. Bisleri, Bisleri is another good example. In the good old days, Bata used to be a good example. So, they build traction for their brand with their customers, not in the world, with their customers. The customer will come back and ask for that value. Okay? Understand the size of the opportunity facing them. They understand that we are for 100 crore company, 200 crore company, there is so much in the market, if I do this, I can make 1,000 crore. They understand that well, by and large. Okay? They have a reasonably clear strategy for seizing the growth opportunity. They know that we are here, ये करेंगे, ये होगा. Okay? But they feel strapped for bandwidth. What does bandwidth mean? Anybody? Speed of the technical pipes. Right? That's a technical phrase for bandwidth. Anybody else? What is bandwidth? Restrictions. Okay. How do you access internet here? You have Wi-Fi or? So Wi-Fi has bandwidth, right? If it has less bandwidth, what will happen? So this is managerial bandwidth. They don't have good managers, they don't have good systems, good process. So their speed is less. And while they are going slowly, somebody else is going fast. So they are strong technically, they have got a built-in traction for their branded customers, they understand the size of the opportunity facing them, that this I can become a 1,000 crore company, 500 crore company, my order book is big. They have reasonably clear strategy about how to go about it, क्या करना है, buy this, I have to open a franchise and I have to do that. But आदमी नहीं. Okay. So this is what we found in our research in part 1. Part 2. Now, how can bandwidth come to a company? So, your organization, you can design the organization in a manner. For example, till very recently, do you know how Dell sold computers? designing your organization in a manner, you can get bandwidth, right? In some way. That's a technology example. There are other ways of designing organizations that you get better bandwidth. It's a subject in itself. Do you have a course of organizational design? Do you have a course of organizational design? Systems and processes. Why do you need systems and processes? But you may be a very capable and strong on planning guy, so you don't need it. Or you may think you are at any case. Huh? क्या होगा? Standard is boring. I will be a smart project manager. I don't think about that. Just leave me alone. I will do it. Everything is like that. Don't disturb me. You're not seeing. Lucky you. Why do you have to work with other people? I like working alone. अरे I work with all the donkeys. मैं साल हूँ. Have you seen people like that? Who don't enjoy working with others. Before examination, how many of you study with others or how many study alone? Study? Anybody study with others? So, now which is right? 9 and 10. But I do the project, they are all donkeys. I will do it. Then people talk like that, people believe it. Throw them out. I'm telling you, throw them out. Give me their money. You know why? So, I'll tell you the other side of it. Not this is the employee side of it. The promoter side of it is, वो system लगाने में बहुत पैसा लगेगा. चल रहा है ना? मैं थोड़ा भी रन करूँ. कुछ कर तो रहा नहीं, कुछ करा तो नहीं. That is the other side. We saw your side of it, and I'm showing the other side of it. Huh? Because somebody telling me ERP will cost you some 40 lakhs. It's very bad. Then what happens? This one is right. Individual is very good. So the stronger systems and processes, the lower the caliber of people required to run. Caliber and therefore cost. See, just think of the camera, right? Do you remember earlier cameras before mobile came? Remember? Huh? How complicated was it? Aperture and all. Now my mother at the age of 78 had not used a camera. But now anyone can use camera. And what has happened? People at the back end have invested in the system. So that the front end is simple. You also heard of Wipro. So I've done some work with Wipro. I used to be with Anderson Consulting, and that's some work with Wipro. And Premji would say, this is around 2001 too. You have heard of these things like we are a CNN level 5 company. What does it mean?
They are having some set of standard and
There is ISO. It's not about something.
they will be having, when you know they do programming, they will be having some standard and they will be having to some level of company.
No, that's outside. What is happening inside the company? You are the right man when you got lost.
As per my knowledge, I think there will be, when you do programming, you should have some documentation of every segment you are doing. And specific reporting should be
So the phrase we use is that you have to make the system or process idiot proof. Have you heard the word idiot proof? Have you heard it? Have you heard it? Idiot proof means even the idiot cannot spoil it, idiot will also do it okay. Like the mobile camera today, for example, or the mobile phone is considered idiot proof compared to the earlier phone or the other camera. Have you understood the difference? Okay, it's considered idiot proof. Now you can say that it's something we can't even do that. No, because idiot also has no limit. You can have a bigger idiot also. But by and large, companies have to invest in systems and processes so that the thing is more idiot proof. So in the same example, everything that has to be done, the steps are top. You have to follow these steps. You can't do anything else. So you don't require a brilliant guy can manage a system process. But for the average guy, you require system process. When you want to become from a shop to an organization, you must invest in systems and processes so that it can bring down the cost of people who run it and also the dependence on any one person. If you go away, he will come, he will read that and he will take, or everything is there, he can take over from there. Okay? So Premji will say, you all know what the word percentile means, median percentile, you all know what that means? The Malay does that, I don't know if it's yes or no, so what does percentile mean or median? Do you know what percentile means?
Output percentage is dependent on the other person's output.
Yeah, okay, I'm kind of getting there. Basically, if there are 100 people with marks, let's say 100, 90, 92.
Percentage of people who are above.
Right. Percentage of people who are above you or below you, depending on what kind of thing that is. So, most companies will say we pay at the 66th percentile of the market, or we pay at the median or whatever. Premji says that he pays at the 25th percentile. Okay, so what is the point of investing so much in system and processes if I have to pay so much? I don't need brains. The brains I need are in small groups of people who we will fast track to growth and in the leadership team, not in the 10,000 employees I hire every year. Okay? You need bright people when you have no systems to run it, not to design it. Designing is a different part. That was different levels of it. Is the point that can you see the challenges a SME promoter will face when he wants to go from shop to organization? Are you getting that? These are the issues that they face. They won't say the system process and all design. They won't use these words. They will say आदमी नहीं है. आता है जब चला जाता है. But they are not realizing all this. So since there are students and they are studying all of this, you have to realize what does he need and how to convince him. Not easy. Because instead of a 5 lakh आदमी, he has to use 40 lakh का system. For example, and that is his issue. Is the point clear? And then there is the final thing which we can do, which is at the army level. Talent at the next level. At the next level, to implementation through delegation, which means you can sign checks up to 5 lakh rupees, somebody else can do that. They will not want to do that. Like yesterday I was sitting with some company you're trying to consult with, it's a stock broking company. And I was sitting with the owner, and the office is in Daryaganj near the stock exchange. And he wanted to meet, he had seen my profile on LinkedIn, he wanted to meet. So I went to this is कहाँ मिलेंगे आपका ऑफिस में मेरा ऑफिस है. So I said I'll come to your office. And he says tell me I would have come to your office आप कहाँ आ गए. So I said when I come here I get to see. Then he said what do you see? अच्छा ऑफिस है क्या नहीं. So I said no I see कि हमने 2 घंटे की मीटिंग की, कितने बार लोगों ने आपको आके इंटरप्ट किया और आपने कितने बार चेक साइन किया. That means the more people come to interrupt, the less systems you have. Right? Because even for 10 minutes they know you're in a meeting, the door is closed, but people still coming in. Means what? Is the point clear? The last point. But people are scared to delegate. वो भाग जाएगा पैसा लेके, तो कोई भी हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So, what employers seek from employees? I'm not talking about large professional employers. I'm talking about these 109 companies we spoke to. They all seek productivity. आदमी आएगा काम करना, ठीक है? You know, HR will tell you motivation. Oh, he should work. Okay, next. He will then want employee retention only of talent, not everybody. हमारे की आदमी है 5-10, वो रहना चाहिए. So all employers said they wanted productivity. Many employers said to us they wanted talent retention, not employee retention. Okay, and the last thing, employee engagement, motivation, satisfaction. Some people said. They may have also not meant it, but they said it. Many did not say it also. But when they give a media interview, they will say people are most valuable resource and asset and all liability and all that. Yeah. But economic times, nice thing about best employer and all of that. How people will do something, we make them play in the canteen and all that. Okay, next. What employees seek from employers? We also spoke from the employees, what are the issues here? So what did they say? What am I, not a philosophical question, what am I expected to do? वो clear नहीं है. One good thing is when you go and talk to people in a small company can be a 100 crore company. Who's your boss? Everybody is boss of one person. God is only one. Okay, often side by side. So, what am I expected to do? Next is, what am I required to deliver? Means, हम काम करते हैं, अच्छा करते हैं, बुरा करते हैं, मालूम नहीं पड़ता. ब्राजील में कब ज्वाइन किया है? And how will I measure कि अच्छा क्या बुरा किया? Next, what tools and support will I get to perform? कोई सिस्टम नहीं है, कोई प्रोसेस नहीं है, वो ऐसे करता है, मैंने किया था, वो गायब हो गया. And what can I expect? Go ahead. If I do well only today, कुछ इंसेंटिव होगा, बोनस होगा, प्रमोशन होगा, रेडी नहीं है तो मैं आया था, मेरे को 10,000 रुपये मिल गया था, मुझे अच्छा महीने बाद 20,000 रुपये मिल गया, ये तो मैंने लगता है. And the last case, to learn and grow tomorrow. Very basic stuff, not surprising, but important from a priority point of view. What should you focus on? Don't focus on employee engagement and satisfaction and motivation and all. अच्छा हाँ इनको कुछ प्रोग्राम कर लीजिए, इनको मोटिवेट कर लीजिए करके. So nothing happens. He has no interest. Employee will feel good. Employee will go with अच्छा खाना था, अच्छा प्रोग्राम था, आगे बहुत ठंडा हो रहा है यहाँ पे. So completely disconnected.
No, I have been talking about reward and incentives.
First you have to address the basics. In the army there's the proverb, don't mess with my pay and ration. Means my pay will come on time and I should the ration on time. Then you do all the family stuff. Okay, so first get the pay and rations, and then for example, you can give rewards and incentive and all of that, but do I have a computer to work on? Okay, do I have the right software or not? Does the system keep crashing? Do I have access to a printer? Or there are only one guy in the office who has a printer and he's sitting over it like this? Okay, so first address those, what tools support do I have? These are the basics. See, like I told you that interactive observer, it's a hierarchy, it's a ladder. This is also a ladder. You have to first address employee productivity issues. Then you can address retention issues, and only then should you of key talent, and only then should you go towards motivation, engagement. I'm not saying those are not important, but the SME world is still at level 0, base 0. Don't expect them to say, give me some engagement stuff. Let me give you a typical example of what we call, I was telling you the other day. There's something called the monkey on your back problem. So what will happen is, now let me give you now. Some line manager is having some department head. He is not having very good productivity and delivery in his department. So he will come to HR and he will say, you know, my people are not motivated. You do some training and charge them. Now HR has no words, so they will okay, so HR will organize a good training. Okay, they will take them to training program. They will do all that. After that, some feedback will be taken. So good khana, good environment, good today, all that. Most good training programs have three feedback. So the common feedback, the research on the survey. Number one program. What is the feedback? Very good program, but not relevant for our company. Second feedback. Very good program. You must also give to our bosses. And third feedback. Very good program. Too short. Must be done more often. What is common to these three feedback? I am okay. The rest is not. I don't want to change. Okay. So now that will happen. So a good program will happen, high feedback scores. There's something which I call post-training euphoria. After the 3-day program, there will be a lot of, when the program goes well, then there will be a lot of hugging and kissing and people will exchange mail IDs and phone numbers. Some info content will set up a Yahoo group. Okay. They will send mails to each other. And then after some time, but they will say, for training, it could be like a movie only. So, how do you sustain a company's business performance? Right? We talked about all the issues. Now, how do you sustain a company's business performance? So, you have to build the company at 3 levels. Align. You have heard of realignment? So something also called alignment in business world. What does alignment in business world mean? Does anybody know? Have you heard about alignment? How to build alignment in a business sense? Yes. What is that? Putting proper order. That is sequencing. Keeping everything in line. With what?
Vision.
You know, in my previous job, I was the director of the board of Talent India, and Samir Jain was the owner of Talent India. So, around that time, while I was working with them, 2 movies came. This Munna Bhai series. So alignment basically means, being aligned to what the boss wants. If the boss is on a promoter or to the vision, as the case, which is a more professional way of saying it, vision and all. Okay. So when the boss, what happens is that when the boss says aisa karo, now people will say, no, why is the boss saying that I am smarter than him, I aisa karega, but I will do better. So that is not aligned. Like boss says, invest in technology, you may have got the best technology, but not the most suitable technology. Okay, that is not an example of alignment. So I was telling something does watch movies, and I love watching movies. So I will come and tell him some lessons from the movies. So I was telling him that. To me, the ultimate, I was telling him, you must from Munna Bhai to all the board directors of Talent India in the boardroom. Because I think alignment of circuit to Munna Bhai is the ultimate corporate alignment. Okay, and I was giving examples. One, already seen the movie? So, in the first Munna Bhai, in which that girl is a radio jockey, I forgot her name, whatever name of the movie is. So, the first scene is that he's sitting out in the jetty and he's listening to radio, and then he asks the circuit that ये 2 अक्टूबर क्या है? तो he says कि dry day है, dry day है, तो बबल देख रहा है. Then he says कि ये बापू कौन था? तो he says मालूम नहीं बता, body कितना बड़ा क्या? Dairy farmer, that's a brilliant guy. But that's a build-up. So what is the ultimate line? So he says कि जो बापू पे कोई sponsor करेगा, उसको ध्यान में लाने की नहीं है. उससे मीटिंग होगा. Like उसका dinner या whatever, like you should go. This is what he says. The first, he has not met her, he has not seen her. he starts seeing Gandhi. He starts seeing Gandhi and all that. And then there's one psychiatrist or doctor who's saying that you're stupid or mad. So Circuit takes him aside and he says, "Agar bhai boka dikhta hai, dikhta hai." You're not supposed to question that. So that is the likelihood to me. So the company must align at 3 levels. Level 1 is organization level, which is reflected in organization design, restructuring. Okay, the certain said organization performance metrics, family business constitution, and capital number. Let me talk about each one of them briefly, and then I will complete the time. Organization design. Let me give an example. Like we talked about Dell and Amazon. For example, 10 years ago I was consulting with brand magazine, and they had just decided to move from being in generic drugs to research and discovering molecules and new drugs, right? So they set up a big R&D department, brought one big guy from America. And how are they measuring the success of R&D? When we went in, they were measuring success of R&D, number of patents filed per year. And this guy has filed 10 patents, so he's good, he's filed 12, and they were walking around like, studying with the chest out and all that. But the company was not making any progress on moving from generics to new drug discovery. So then when I asked, they said, no, sales and marketing, they can't go and sell, if you don't go and sell, they're not doing it at all. Sales and marketing is saying, these guys keep producing patents that have no use in the real world. We tell them to, they don't listen to us, they don't understand us. So this is an example. This is an example of not aligned. The design is not right. There's something wrong with the design. And then, we moved the measurement not from patents but to commercialization of patents. Which means, but then there are a lot of resistance to that. Commercialization of patents. He says, but if I patent something today, it will give revenue 3 years later. So I said, okay, what about money from patents filed 3 years ago? People haven't kept record of what was filed 3 years ago. So chala gaya na. I have won and won an award. A great example is of ad agencies. Ads with awards, but don't really sell the product. In fact, I play this game at home and all. When people tell me it's a great ad, na? Tell me any great ad. Or some ad that you like.
But they would have done
Huh?
they will ad. That's the recent one.
Sorry.
So the revenue ad.
Anything else?
So I would have
For example, I take an example, obviously running short time to run fast now. There was an ad which came when an old man is giving his wife a ring or a diamond, and she's saying, "He gave me money, have you ever seen that ad?" And the guy says, "He gave me money, and not seen that ad. So that's the ad. So what is the ad for? Most of the things are diamond ad. It's actually SBI like pensions. It's SBI like pension. So a good ad must lead to brand recall. Okay, not winning an award for a brilliant creator. That's the case of alignment. So I keep telling people that if you don't listen to your boss and do something brilliant, you may win a Nobel Prize, but you get sacked. Okay.
you take example of the brand marketing R&D model. Just as in whatever bit I have come across, there's always a bit of fight between marketing and brand marketing.
So there are ways around that. Let me give an example of Big Bazaar. In Big Bazaar, what is like unsold in the store for more than 3 months now? Who should be punished or whose responsibility is it? Yes. In a store, in any outlet, if something is lying unsold for more than 3 months, who is taken to task? Yes. Any of you guess? You all become big bazaar sometimes. And so it is possible something is lying for more than 3 months not sold some items. Who's responsible to be according to you? Loan manager, sales. Then what do you do? Then I will tell you the story. So I will confess them. The store, the responsibility is that of the purchase guy. Why did you purchase something if the store not able to sell in 3 months? Stop purchasing. Can you see how great alignment there is? Now the store purchase guy will enter around कि क्या बिक रहा है ये बिक रहा है. Otherwise you're not aligned. You're saying sales store manager not able to sell. He indicate he's purchasing a very good rate thing which can't be sold. And he's getting a bonus for that. That is an example of poor alignment. Can you see the power of what purchase guy? What is unsold is the purchase guy responsibility. Not fully. Store manager also purchase guy. So don't give the store something which they can't sell. Even if he says he wants it. That's an example. Next is at process level, system level. So customer focus. So the processes must be designed from the customer's point of view, not, I don't know about now. I haven't earlier when we would go to, like suppose you go to, even now you go to cottage industries to buy something in Delhi, or you go to, let's say Khadi or something, emporium to buy. You have to pay here, collect. It is completely customer friendly. Accounts is sitting here, somebody is sitting here. It is designed for their convenience, not for the customer at all. Take it, if you want to get it back, go to the basement, then buy a fashion paper somewhere else. Completely so that is not customer-centric at all. Single-handedly multiple factor I talked about a little while ago, and efficient management of operation. And then at the job level, with focus on role clarity, gaps, overlaps, performance measurement, all this. Now, what is the important thing here? The important thing here is that whether a person is performing well or badly in the job is visible. If he is working or not working, I can see that. So if I am the boss or the owner, I will go and talk to him, who has come on time and working. That is visible. Okay. However, a process, whether it is working or not, is not visible. And whether the organization is performing or not as a business is not visible unless in post-mortem. Only when you. But if the company is strong and has good systems and processes that has been designed well, a job or a person can only perform within the context of systems and processes. And systems and processes can only perform within the broader constraint of organization design. Like that big bazaar example I gave you, or Rambaxay example I gave you. Because these are invisible, people don't spend time on them. But the impact is maximum at organization level first, then process level, then person level. But people, because it's visible, will first attack it. So those have been designed in the context of that. And this will help to create an ability to deliver superior and sustainable results. Both the words are important. Superior and sustainable. Organization is about sustainability. Shop can be here, very shop can be gone. You must have heard of Peter Drucker. He said the organization design, the defining characteristic of our organization is the ability to make good decisions. So if you look at the sentence, it doesn't say managers make decisions or people make decisions. It says organizations make decisions. Why is that? Because when you are an organization and you have to take a decision, you have to take everybody's input. Suppose Kishore Gyani has to open a new store in Neemrana. Where should he open? Suppose that is the question. Now who will decide that? most companies, the Rajasthan sales country management decided, let go market. Okay, then somebody will say, no, no, but trucks can't reach there or something, you know. So when you take a decision, the transporter will have one perspective, the customer will have a new perspective, the purchase guy will have a third perspective. If all their inputs don't come in, the decision will not be a good decision. The structure should be such that before the decision is taken, all the inputs come, all the relevant, because it's not a wrong decision, but all the relevant inputs must come in. Are you with me? And the next part, make them happen quickly. If your company can do this, so can you imagine because of what will be happening? If something is unsold, things will quickly get corrected, right? Can you imagine what will happen in another company? So that is an example of a good design. Understand what I say? Make good organizations make decisions, not people. Okay. So you are de-risking your business of people. You can have good managers can improve it, but bad managers don't reduce it because your design is there. Is that the point here?
So if you say organization make decisions, would that hold true be for any sector?
No, I'm not saying this is a decision by voting or anything like that. All I am saying is that there is a process by which a decision is made. It may finally be made by one person or the promoter, but before the decision making, all the inputs come in. Any? You have something in mind where it may not work? Okay, next point. So, put a good performer in a bad system and the system will win every time. Only in Hindi movies does the performer win. Okay, in life, the system wins by now. A good performer can maybe show brilliance and sparks and all of that for a while. Then he will get promoted or transferred or leave. The system will decay out. Okay, or he had a bad boss through him, again it will be. So therefore the emphasis should be first on organization and its design and structure and communication, and then on the system process. Then on the people. People are important, but that is step 3. If step 1 and 2 are not strong, then the organization is weak, then you will have sparks of brilliance. He will come and do well, double the sales. Like, you know, Sameer and I would often be looking to hire people tangibly at senior level. So when you are hiring people, you want to meet some guy from Hindustan Lever, some guy, because tangibly senior is an advertising company, because they are advertising all of that. So they want to hire people who are big advertisers on the other side. So Hindustan Lever is some category head. So what do you look after? So it's I look after Lux and Fall, you know. So what have you done? So you have said, you know, I took over the category 18 months ago. I've turned around the category. You know, so Samir and I had this joke that every guy has turned around the category, but the companies are not doing well. You know, people are coming and turning around the thing. So individual brilliance, but overall things are not good. It can happen. You are aware of this? McKinsey model. Are you aware of this? Have you studied it or too early for you? What are your subjects in first year? Maybe we should do the next one. What are your courses in first year? And domain. So I had talked about some time back that, you know, the difference between life and the college life. Life is a test and you learn the lesson. So I'll just build some more texture on that. So in the organization, our rewards are progression, performance based. What is the answer to this question? Generally it is. Now what is it? Huh? Yeah. Performance.
Next level, you don't perform well, but the current performance
No, so next level is tomorrow you will do.
yeah, next role or whatever you do.
Anybody else? Anybody क्या है? Why is the voice so soft? It is always the same. Okay, how many of you have had in college, when I was in college, na, were you part of some organizing, either a festival or some, events or exhibition or, guest lecture or something like that? Any of you involved? Like some student activities? Did you have a team? Huh? If I ask you to rank members of your team, best and worst, can you do it? Huh? Yes, all of it? Is it performance or perception? Not clear? I don't tell you anymore. Huh? Clear? Next. Whose perception? Both. Your perception or your boss's perception? Huh? Reward is based on reward of promotion. Is based on your perception or your boss's perception? Here, no confusion. Great combination. So, if everything depends on your policy, there are two kinds of people in companies: people who perform and people who are seen to be performing. No idea about that? You have to do both. You have to perform and you have to be seen to be performing. It is not like a college examination that you perform and you will get marks and you will top. Some people spend time on performing and some people spend time on managing perception. How many employees does the boss have normally in a company? 4 to 5, 7, 8. How many bosses does one person have? One, sometimes in a battery structure, maybe 2. I don't know if you understand this word, but गलत किससे जाता है? Boss to make the relationship work, गलत किससे जाता है? Gulaj means whose interest is it more? Employees. So you must spend time not only performing but seeing to be performing. A balance, not from the that. And you get opportunities to influence the perception through maximizing interaction, which means the boss will not be meeting you, but you go meet the boss, or send a weekly report. What went well, what went badly, what am I doing next week? Because boss has 7 subordinates or 5 subordinates, and what is he also trying to do? He's trying to manage the boss. So how much time does he have for you? 1, 7. If 50% is managing team and 50% is managing boss, then 50 to chala gaya. And on the balance 50, 1, 7. So you only get 7% of his time. Whether you have tried to improve perception of that. And more importantly, generate or provide valid data for decision making. Like I asked you a question that if you organize this college event, then how can you tag the team? It is a perception because there is no data. But if there is data, it will still be perception, but it will be a little less so. Yeah? Any questions? Manager's behavior, is it objective or subjective? Objective means logical, rational, and subjective means irrational, illogical, emotional. Huh? Why smiling or saying? He is saying subjective, you decide what's subjective. your question, so you are understanding about objective and subjective, right? I mean, in objective there is one right answer, like multiple choice question. In subjective you can write many types. Okay. So let me give you an example. In a cricket match, before the match nowadays they have a pitch report and all that. You must have seen the pitch report and experts will give comment. In a very good weather, wind is going like this grass on the field. India should bat. You heard like this? Then the captain will come and decide. Now who is right? The experts or the captain? Who's right? Huh? Time will tell. Correct? Similarly, I don't know, sometimes if there is somebody not well in your family, somebody critically ill, you go to see some expert. Normally we go to the best in Asia or even India, never go to the second best, go to the best. So you go to the best. And the person will see the report and they say that we need to do surgery, hospitalize immediately. Then but you are scared of hospitalization, so you go and make a second opinion. And then the person will say, no, you try medicines for 3 months. Same report, same data and all of that. Same case. He will say that try medicines for 6 months and then we will see. Has it happened to you in your family? Who is right? And who is a better doctor? Or who is a better captain in the previous example? So the answer is time will tell. If the patient dies afterwards, then it was wrong doctor, bad doctor. So the pattern of your decision, like similarly captain, if he wins, then he is right. If he loses, not once, but the pattern.
But sir, if he wins, he is right. It may be like.
Yeah, but I would rather have a lucky captain who wins every time than an unlucky captain who is right. My father would say the harder you work, the luckier you get. So maybe luck once, but the pattern. So managers are paid to use the subjectivity, and they must be prepared to earn respect or be hanged for the judgment. Not one judgment, but the pattern. Like a doctor or a captain or a lawyer, any other. Okay. If everything is objective, then I don't need to manage. Then the computer can take over. Right? Because objective means if A then this, if B then this. Manager comes from the word manage. And he has to, in Hindi, manage kar lo. Means what? Means all subjective will do something. Don't bother me. Okay? But what happens is we expect that the boss will be objective, operating system will be objective. Won't be. In fact, I will value managers who use the subjectivity with good judgment on a sustained basis. But doesn't mean you start judging, like snap judgments. You have to do some homework. Step 1 is get all the information, data, what are competitors doing, what is happening, all of that. Step 1. And apply some new thinking. Can we do it differently? Is there another way of doing it? Some out of the box stuff. But don't wait for all the data and information to come, it will never come. Moment all the information comes, again you don't need the manager or computer can decide. Okay, and then you judge. So you must judge. So first I, then N, then J. Is that clear? And finally in the organization, this is Stephen Covey line. Seek first to understand. Don't try and go there right at the beginning and say, first understand what is happening over the side. How many of you saw this was the today's papers? Did any of you read this? Can you read it properly? This links to my question in the beginning of Lala company versus NMC. And I am telling you, in the next generation, it will move towards smaller companies. It's already beginning to happen. Because we understand. So, In exchange, I will own 10% of your company. Type of thing. Okay. And these companies are all shops. Most of them were shops, including Pantaloon, when it began 4 years ago, which was one of the first brands of it. And these companies would not be very organized. So the purpose of my company, which was called Merit Advisory Services, was to help these companies to organize and grow better. So as a result, I met these so many CEOs or promoters of these companies. So I will go for the meeting typically with in my team I had my managers with some 7 to 8, 10 years experience, IIT, IIM, Bright, PhD, So we'll go for the first meeting with some company, Tava Basmati Rice, example. Gitanjali Gems, Vishal Mega Mart. What is that company which makes tissues? We're getting an idea of the companies. So we'll go for the meeting. A company called Jet Team Import Train, who was hardware network training people. So we'll go for this meeting. We'll talk to the promoter, to see what we should do. We'll come away from the meeting. So this manager was one with me, will come out of the meeting and say, what a dumb guy. Talk about the promoter. Why? Because he can't speak English properly, or typically he's a shop, not an organization. So when you go, you see a lot of chaos and all happening inside. His office will be somewhere in the Riyaganj, not in narrow place. So all of this adds up, right? Then we go for meeting two with another company, another client. Again, he comes okay. As we come out of the meeting, the third meeting this happened in Bombay. The third meeting when I came out again, he's saying, so I told them finally. So I said, what but in 10 years of his life, he's driving a Mercedes and he still have to take the local train to work after IIT, IIM. So what is the difference? It's a important question to ask. 10 years after an MBA or 5 years after an MBA, if you're in a job as a successful manager versus somebody who starts Lotus Broking company and has bought his own house and car and 5 years later, that can happen, right? What is the difference between you and this person? This really lies at the heart of the word entrepreneurship. The answer to this question. What is the difference? Is he as intelligent as you? First question. From an IQ sense, may not be. What is the difference? What does the word enterprising mean? So when probably try to
we need to probably get out and work in a proper organization system rather than to try a startup.
Yeah, so that is the answer. There's only one difference. Their appetite for risk. All of you said that in some ways. People who study a lot need a system, a structure, and an environment to perform. These people will be happy in their Mercedes, will be happy in a crowded and many of them have done this. That is the main difference, their appetite to take risk. Now, I am in my mid-40s and many of my classmates and friends are like, big CEOs, VPs of many companies and all of that. And they are all intelligent, successful people earning high salaries and all of that. So, but many of them are bored with their work life. Many of them will big people, I mean, you'll see the interview, the CEO of a company, giving all the right interviews and all of that. But can't do something. Because appetite for risk is one criteria, and the other criteria in my mind is what I call allergy to ambiguity. Ambiguity, you know what ambiguity means? It's all confused, there is no clarity, there is no system, there is no rule, no textbook to follow. Managers with a strong management or business education often have high allergy to ambiguity. They need structure, they need procedure. Whereas the entrepreneur has low allergy to ambiguity. He doesn't get faced. He'll do something. That is in my mind the fundamental difference. This is stuff from a bit from our research. Some of it is in the public domain. I was talking about definitions, these are much smaller ones. But the important thing to note is that the SME sector contributes 40% of our GDP. Did you know that? 50% of our exports and 4 crore employees. Okay. After all the hype, the number of employees that IT and BPO sector employs has not been touched on. After all the media hype. Okay. Just to give you a sense of perspective. That same research we did on what the SME owners said, we found out what were their pain points in that research. So the number one thing was finance, funding and financing. And we'll share this presentation so you don't have to take notes, but these were in order. There are people, as you can say, saying attracting, retaining, and hardly impacting. So in 6 products, the words are not there. Like the guy will say, "Mal time पर ही पहुंचता है customer के पास, dealer से लाता है." और an MBA will say the supply chain logistics problem. Okay. So we have written the MBA part of it. Okay. He didn't say it like this. ये ढंग का आगे नहीं होता है, समझ नहीं लगा जैसे. Okay. So we have written it in MBA language. Okay. And you may know this. Larger companies rely more on systems, technology, people, systems, processes, technology, or design than smaller companies. So larger companies are more productive. So they use less employees per rupee. A smaller company, SMEs, their weakness is actually an employment generation for the country, which is our collective 4 crore employees. Again. So it's 4x is the thing. They develop and grow, you develop and you do not do. That's what other companies have a definition. Have you ever heard of somebody called Jack Welch? Jack Welch is the CEO, earlier CEO of the GE. And one of the things he did was to say that you will not, any business that GE is not number 1 or 2 in, GE will get out. In 3 years, he told all the CEOs of the businesses. In 3 years, I will become number 1 or 2 in business. What we will do? Sell the business. Now, when a company, and they became very successful as a result of that. They were the most successful company of the world in 2000 when BlackBerry retired and new gadget eventually. When you have an organization diktat or a strategy like that, number 1 or 2 or exit, you will not try any new business. You will not get into biotech. You will not get into any e-businesses because you don't know. Amazon is already sitting up there, Google is sitting up there. So you will miss out on. So large enterprises, because of their design and focus on certain areas, miss out newer areas. Innovation often comes in the SME world. Because an appetite for risk, as organizations grow larger, tends to slow down. This thing about corporate governance, social responsibility and all of that, the biggest scandals there are normally black or white money. By and large, they seem to, and many of them are more engaged in the community because they have less systems. Their dependence on the society and community around is higher. I don't know if you have seen this. The number of people who are disabled that will find an SME when you go in from the reception onwards is much higher. But in absolute terms, the percentage is even higher than last year. Last year we talked about it, but we do not have so these are some things we have noticed. This is from the public. So what do other countries, some ideas other countries have implemented in India can learn from? In China, that any company must buy spare parts from the local vendors. Which Mamata Banerjee is trying to do, others are trying to do, and all of that. But it's a law in China that you can't buy from outside. So that intelligence is needed. Automobile industry, and a lot of, in India, the number one reason for SMEs give for not growing is funding for finance. Because they're not able to open a bank account, they can't get LC limit, they can't get a guarantee, they are looking, when you have a lot of money, they are not able to lend to you. The big thing, they are not able to lend to you. So the government in many countries plays a strong role in that area. Same thing as in Japan, there is a role of the government in that. In the US, the government has a quota of contracts which only go to small businesses to encourage entrepreneurship. In the US, the percentage of SMEs, they call it SME, small and medium business, SME to GDP is 47%. Okay, let me do an exercise. We'll do one exercise and then I'll give you the exercise and then we will stop. Okay. So, this one escape the thing. So, do you know anybody apart from yourself who you consider a top performer? And I don't mean as a college topper. It could be the tea boy. It could be something in administration, it could be in your previous company, it could be in your father's company, it could be your friend's brother, anybody. Can you think of one person who you consider a top performer? Huh? Have all of you got somebody in mind? Now, skip a bit, it's not going to be in that cluster, in the top performer. Tell me what according to you makes him or her, the person you have in mind, a top performer. Consistency, good communication. So don't give it theory. Think of the person and tell me his or her attributes will make him a top performer. Jack of all trades, somebody said. Inner urge. Hard work and interest. Inner urge. Hard work and next point. Hard work and interest. Just put numbers instead of this. Desire for, is that simple to inner urge? And the desire for achievement. Interest, desire for achievement. What did you say? Determination. The desire for achievement. Passion is a thing. आप लोग किसी एक आदमी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं ना? You can also participate. हाँ, hunger for more. ये दिल मांगे more है. Okay. Self-belief. Appetite for more self-belief. Anybody else? Think of that person and tell me what according to you makes him a higher performer.
Delivering a promise.
Delivering a promise or honoring commitment type of thing. honoring commitment. Honoring commitment. Somebody goes to the point one. Anybody else?
Efficiency.
You want to explain that?
Time in terms of time.
Okay.
Time is worse than space.
Okay.
Working under time pressure.
Okay. Working under pressures. Okay. Working under pressures. Okay. What bullets numbers? Also,
Street smartness.
street smartness. क्या मतलब होता है? जुगाड़. Correct, जुगाड़. Yeah, right. Okay. Just write street smart or जुगाड़. Okay. So now I'll stop. Anybody else has any? This is the class of also. Otherwise, I'll stop this list.
So, for example, who can see the future? Process is the solution.
Okay. Foresight. Foresight. I want you to think of a real person, not what the book says the high performer should have. Somebody you had in mind. Now, I want you to shift gears and think of somebody who is a poor performer, not during probation or training period. A confirmed employee, and it could be the cook at home, it could be anybody, but not under trying out, not in the first stage, but somebody who's been beyond a confirmed employee, right? What according to you makes him or her, again put it number, a poor performer? Careless, overconfident.
Believe it is employee.
Believe
Believe it is employee that they will work for it.
too trusting, okay. Laid back,
Uncooperative.
unwillingness to change, laid back, unwillingness to change, uncooperative, unwilling to change, unwilling to change, uncooperative. सर क्या मतलब है? Negative attitude, uncooperative, rigid. Is it unwilling to change and rigid the same thing? क्या अलग है? Rigid से बोला, हाँ, unwilling to change से बोला, एक ही बात है, अलग बात है. अच्छा, unwilling to change लोग rigid कर दो वहाँ, हाँ? Stubborn nature. Hello. Okay, हाँ. I am the best. Inward woman. Egoist. Think of a real person. Again, real person and deserve the quality. Work shirker. Shirks work. Shies away from work. Feeling. पता नहीं है. ऐसे चाहिए से. Lack of competition. मतलब is complacent.
Yeah, if there is an example of SME, they know they have no competition in industry.
No, I'm not about individual. I'm not about individual. You are about company. I'm not about individual. You are about person or the company. Person. Okay. Carry on. Not flexible. Not flexible. Inflexible. So lack of knowledge. After confirmation also. और वो प्रोफेशन में निकल जाएगा. अच्छा. Over delegation. Okay. Over delegation. You were saying something there? You want to explain? No, but I'm asking why. That's a poor performer. I'm asking the reason for that. Casual. अच्छा. हाँ. Poor listener. So now we have got 25 points. 12 plus 13. और चाहिए कि काफी है? हाँ. Okay. So now just put on full screen mode. Put all down. Now do you? Okay. You all agree that this is a This is not about Harvard and McKinsey, as you all have said, right? Now tell me, is there any story or pattern here? कुछ story दिख रही है यहाँ पर? Don't say yes opposite है, ये मत बोलना. That is disqualified. That is obvious.
So they are all character related.
मतलब
The top performance attributes your
right. But you appreciate that these 12 are not in one person. They are in different. It is a combination of what everybody said, right? Anybody else? Anything? Okay, then I will tell you. None of you said highly intelligent. None of you said highly qualified. None of you said highly skilled. None of you said very talented on this side. And none of you said dumb, lack of intelligence, not qualified. Does that surprise you? None of you said relevant work experience. क्यों नहीं बोला? It's not so important. MBA करना ही नहीं था.
There is that for the individual you not properly utilizing.
But you know what? So now, is it shocking to you? Surprise है ना? किसी ने नहीं बोला. और 10 मिनट तक नहीं आता था. नहीं आता ना? Isn't it shocking? Normally we say ना कि चलो IIT का अच्छा होगा. But कोई correlation नहीं. अगर को आता you were technically listening. Okay, now on to the next slide. So what does it mean? Top performance is about behaviors, mindsets, work life. All of those go back to the slide. All of these are behaviors, or in your mind. Okay? Or in your attitude, as somebody said, negative attitude on the other side. None of this needs to be inborn. None of this is inborn. कि पैदाइशी I was talented like Dr. Kamli was talented. All of this you can start doing tomorrow morning, good or bad. You don't need to wait for a degree. Tomorrow morning you can start. If you say मेरा IQ कम है तो मैं क्या करूँ? IQ is not much करो, as you can see. Carry on. These can be learned and applied from tomorrow. Hold on. And not talent, intelligence, qualification. आपको मालूम था हम क्या बोले? मैंने पहले ही लिखा. I have done this exercise in 40 countries, maybe with 1000 groups. आज तक कभी नहीं आया वहाँ पे इंटेलिजेंस वाला. कभी मालूम? So talent, intelligence never comes on the list. Shocking. Okay, carry on. These things are either inborn or they can be gained over the years, like knowledge, qualification, skill. But knowledge, skills, prior work experience, qualifications, intelligence, they will at best guarantee good performance. Meets expectation, average, threshold. None of you are studying this. Any of you are studying optimize operations research, OR, and finance. There are two phrases. One is called maxi-min and the other is called mini-max. Maxi-min means maximize your minimum outcome, which means why do companies hire MBAs when Dhirubhai Ambani was a dropout and Bill Gates was another dropout? And there are many stories like that. No? Why MBAs? No, but why is so much money and time? You know to be more salary than MBA, but there is no guarantee of qualification to reach performance. As you SDO which is not certified. All of this. So why do companies hire an MBA or a CA or whatever for a degree talent? Why? You just say that expert need not be from the degree. मतलब क्या expert तो बोलने वाली बात है. Because the answer is de-risking. What does that mean? Mean that the worst MBA or the lowest MBA will be better than the average graduate by and large. But the lowest MBA or the best MBA may not be as good as the Dhirubhai or Bill Gates. But that is a probability. Okay. With MBA you de-risk broadly mota ठीक ठाक आता है. It can get you good performance. So it maximizes the chances of getting a minimum standard of performance. If I go there and take class and pass out, the chances are lower of getting minimum. But one of the class boys can be 0 by out of 1 lakh. But understanding, this is called the maximizing your minimum output. With MBA, chances of going wrong and getting better are low. 0 नहीं है, but low. ठीक है? Now, behavior or what is called soft skills are the foundation of sustainable great performance. All the great things, दोनों इस तरफ भी great लोग थे, आपके इसमें इस तरफ भी great लोग थे, दोनों great होते हैं. Okay? Is usually based on behavior or what HR people like to call competency. This leads to distinguishing exceptional performance and minimize the maximum. So if you focus on behavior, you minimize the maximum output behavior. It is the opposite of the previous one. This part clear? I like this quote. Good character is to be praised, more to be praised than outstanding talent. Most talents are to some extent a gift. Good character, by contrast, is not given to us. We have to build it piece by thought, courage, choice, and determination. Many people say that Kamli was more talented than Raghu. Have you heard it said? But what made the difference? You know, and all the words it was said about high performance, now go back to the high performance just 2 slides ago. And you will see how many of these would apply to consistency and things like that, and how many of that may end up applying to Kamli. Can you see? It is not in your talent. It is not in your knowledge. It is not in your qualification. The difference is somewhere else. Yeah. I think we have done for time. I'll just finish with this last slide, which I really like. This slide I picked up from Wall Street Journal. Okay, so let's begin here. Managers who can help businesses grow demonstrate a virtuous cycle of beliefs and behaviors that are clear contrast to opposites, an equally powerful vicious cycle that discourages good thinking. No, that's all big words. Output, you understand? Output means your mindset or what you're thinking and your worldview. Now your outlook can be that life is a test, therefore avoid looking foolish. Or life is a journey of learning, therefore in this case embrace uncertainty, in this case fear uncertainty. What does that mean? You know, you go to a restaurant with somebody, you will find some people who will only order the same dish every time or same kind of. They will never order anything new. And there will be somebody who will order whatever I've never had before. Now, one person is trying to avoid looking foolish, and the other person is saying, let me learn. Once in a while I'll make a mistake, I won't like the dish, but at least I will learn one more dish. So one person will fear uncertainty and therefore avoid new experiences. One person will embrace uncertainty and therefore seek new experiences. Point here? So far? If you avoid new experiences, you will have a narrow repertoire. Repertoire means range, the diversity of experiences that you have. Okay? The khajana of experiences you have. So you will have narrow number of experiences. This person will have a broad number of experiences. Point clear? Now this dotted line means that all this is actually happening in your mind and within you. Okay? Now you step out into the world. You will now start seeing customers only as data. A person who has less experiences will see customers as data. You have heard the phrase best practices? Best practices have two problems. One problem is that it's always about the past. Can there be best practice about the future? And second is, it does not speak to your context. Okay? So you have to customize to your context. So these people will understand customers only as data because they will read reports. Okay? Because well, these people will go out there, meet new people, have new experiences and understand customers as people. Why did Micromax pick up the two-SIM idea when Nokia could not? Because Micromax was out there meeting people and addressing their needs. The two-SIM thing had never worked very well in the world because the tariff structures were different in different countries. Okay? So because you understood customers as data, you will overlook new growth opportunities like Nokia did in this example. You will understand customers, you will detect new growth opportunities. The two-SIM card is 4 years old, but Nokia heard about it only 18 months ago. So the growth opportunity was growing, but they were not heard about it. Nokia acknowledged it. Nokia kept saying it's a small market, and we won't go there. So you overlook new opportunities, then you will manage risk analysis. Now you don't understand the customer, so you will ask for more data, more analysis, and all of that. And after analysis, you will place some big bets slowly. Here, you will detect a new growth opportunity, you will manage risk to action. You say, let's try it out. एक छोटा सा try करते हैं. ठीक है? Because you are constantly seeking new experiences, you will take manage risk to action and place a small bet quickly. When you place small bets quickly, you will fail once in a while, but by and large you will succeed more often in your situations. Here, because your data is all about the past and you are not in touch with the customer and what he is not saying but has a need, this will confirm that fixed mindset. मैं क्या करता है